I'm Margaret Ann Windsor, and this is the second video. I just put one up, and I wanted to continue it. I had been telling about my kidnapping in '41 from Buckingham Palace. My father's King Edward VIII, and this is the double that married Wallace Simpson. She was an American spy, and history is a total lie. They would tell you that my father married Wallace Simpson. My father married Georgia O'Keeffe's sister, the American artist sister. My mother's Claudia Ruth O'Keeffe. So all that takedown and a 99-year seal with nothing but lies, and then my kidnapping in '39, which is when my Uncle George VI became illegal George VI, and thus Elizabeth. Pulled off the biggest crimes, the takedown of my country, Great Britain. So anyway, this is '39 when George is meeting with Roosevelt, who appointed, by the way, Joe Kennedy as ambassador to England '36 till they kicked him out in '46. Now that's JFK's father. I wrote in. Hope I'm not skipping around. I wrote a book in '76 before I found out about my kidnapping. '76, and then so much happened to me. It was about mind control and modifying behaviors and the patterns. They were actually deliberately, this was deliberately done, because how would you know? Mind control is an invisible weapon that you can program people to go out and kill, like the Virginia Tech shootings here next door. I've been up here since '86 in Roanoke. And this is, I was given the name of a twin, Peggy Ann Dempsey, and I'm married to Childers. Both twins, Peggy and Carl. And by the way, I want to put this in here, and I'm not going to go any further with it, but Hannah is a nickname for Margaret. My name is Margaret Ann Windsor, Victoria II, legal heir. And then you've got Hannah, Elizabeth, and believe you me, if the right people hear this, they know that I have been telling this for so long, and all the press had to do here in this country was tell the truth. They really, the more the crime piles up, the crimes, the more they want it shut up. But anyway, this is Gabby Gifford, was a U.S. Congresswoman from Tucson, Arizona. She married Mark and Kelly, and he was married. He was twin to Scott Kelly. Both of them are astronauts. And there you get the NASA input and all that. Wouldn't you like to know who really built and paid the price for NASA and the space program? This whole thing, history, has been a lie. This is my sons, Mark and Scott. This is an old photo. And Mark is heir to the crown after me. So you've got the killings. You've got this one. I'm going to go ahead and show this one. This is the Century Theater shooting, and they've got in Aurora, and they've got him on psychotic drugs and everything else. He was programmed. He's a victim of mind control, which is a weapon. That's what I've been trying to say. And if you don't believe me, or people just don't want to, because really part of it, excuse me while I reach down and pick this up, part of it is it's okay to use it on another country, but don't use it on the United States citizens. Well, the United States citizens are the ones that pay their taxes and condone what the United States military does. And that's one of the things when my father was taken down and I was kidnapped. All the treaties are illegal. But my Uncle George, Elizabeth's father, signed treaties. Well, they worked for the United States. They signed treaties that allowed the United States to put its military and everything, its programs and everything, I assume, all over British soil, holding Great Britain hostage just as they're holding me hostage here. I've never been anything else, and I have suffered and been tortured, and my kids in plain sight. Now, I wanted to go through this. I wrote a book, I said that about mind control, '76, 1980 April Fool Day, because this whole thing's been an April Fool joke. The United States could do it to Great Britain and laugh in the face and make the British lose everything and actually have to fight for the United States. Last Lent, I'll show this. Wrote an article in '83, an editorial, and he mentions Larry McDonald, a congressman doctor. He mentions, endorses me, etc. It says I know who was responsible for a shooting in Lawrenceville, Georgia, March the 6th, '78. Well, I was writing about the mind control murders, and then I had a letter from the U.S. Attorney Harper, June the 23rd of '79, and in it said ongoing investigation, national security involved, just like Snowden attempted to tell you about some of the goings on. And look at what happened to him. But part of the programs, they've used the mind control, MK Ultra way back in '53. People can go and Google it. I was telling about mind control when you couldn't Google, and it wasn't that easy to find information. I came to mind because I worked for doctors and some of the jobs I held, and it was like a puzzle. And then the mind control murders, some of them, like I'm British. This is before I found out I'm British and my kidnapping, or could remember. John Lennon was shot by Martin David Chapman. I was working at the district attorney, Fred Simpson, Madison County, Alabama, Huntsville, NASA. The Simpson, it's like a puzzle you put together. The Simpson was in Wallace Warfield Simpson, who was supposed to marry my dad and became the Duke and Duchess of Windsor, which was a total lie. In Madison County is my mother, I found out, is Georgia O'Keeffe, the artist, sister Claudia Ruth O'Keeffe, born in Madison, Wisconsin. Mark David Chapman that shot John Lennon, John Lennon's British, I'm British, but Mark David Chapman is using my son's name, Mark, who's heir to the crown after me. David is the name that my father, that's his name, he was Edward VIII. Chapman is using the C. And by the way, I found out that Mark David Chapman actually lived here in Roanoke, so there's a lot of things that people think are a coincidence, which there are no coincidences. I wanted to get into this, though. The Gonzales was the name of the doctor where the gag order was put on. I had sued. I can't get an attorney. It would rock the world if they showed what they had done to me and how the Americans have pretended to be the good guys, like the programs they have that start the EBOLA virus and AIDS. And I was telling about Emory University and Center for Disease Control in that book. And a good doctor, head of law and psychiatry at Emory, was Dr. Jonas Robitzer. And I was telling about some of this back in that manuscript, and then I got the antifreeze put in me. So the book never got published. And I couldn't Google. I got my information by researching and putting together a puzzle. But I wanted to say that you can go now, like the Gonzales that suddenly jumped the fence at the White House, they're using the name Gonzales. And I am only telling this like a messenger, hoping that some justice will be done. And the Americans don't go on living this great life that they are accustomed to because they've lied, cheated, killed, murdered. Just don't let it come back on them, right? And I've been a product of it here, and I've watched my country be beaten to a pulp while they tried to stand up. And they and the Germans and my German family and some of the Windsors, I hope, and some Americans have tried to help me here. Most of all, it's been a joke to them. But I want to say this: you can Google MK Ultra mind control. They just didn't tell you patterns that were deliberately the murders done in. Like Virginia Tech and what I was telling about at University of Virginia in Charlottesville and Columbine, et cetera, et cetera. these are the high-profile murders that they told.